Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Maverick News channel. Tonight's program is going to be a little bit different because I don't want to just continue with the play-by-play coverage of the Iran war. I want to take you down a little bit of a different path tonight to give you analysis, a perspective that I think might help bring a lot of this into focus, because this broadcast is about burgers and donuts and phosphorus bombs and corporate connections to this addiction to war that we seem to have, that the powers that be, the elites, if you want to call them that, are hiding in plain sight. So with that in mind, we'll dig in a different way tonight, and I'll illustrate for you what I mean when we get into the addiction of war, our chemical addictions, on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
poison in the air, miracle cures, a crystal vial. They sell your fear and call it style. Blue pill, red pill, choose your quietly convicted, programmed, restricted, smoke in the air, sedation everywhere. Sedation everywhere.
Before there was aspartame, there was saccharin. My dad was the candy man. That's what he was. He sold confectionery, chewing gum, candies, sugar. And in the 1970s, saccharin. Banned. Because of concerns about cancer. Controversial. The debates raged. Heads exploded. Maybe lives were saved. Maybe not. From saccharin, we got aspartame. The debates rage. The heads continue to explode. What do you believe? Was saccharin safe? Was it safer than aspartame? Was it more toxic? Is it toxic at all? Trust the science, they say. I'm here today because of sugar, saccharin, and aspartame. Chiclets. Dentine. Sweet. So Western. So corporate. Oh, it's just chewing gum. No, man, it's big business. And my dad was so loyal to his company. I was never allowed, ever, to chew Wrigley's chewing gum. No juicy fruit for me. But I was never deprived. Always had an ample supply of free samples of Bubblicious, not Hubba Bubba. I survived. So far. Heck, he's 94. It's still kicking. What's the truth? You tell me. Diet Coke, Pepsi, high fructose corn syrup versus aspartame. Oh, high fructose corn syrup, it's the same as sugar, but President Trump says real cane sugar is better and put pressure on Coca-Cola to bring it back. And they did, because of the President of the United States. Pepsi had already done that. You can buy the high test Pepsi with the real cane sugar. But Rick, what does this have to do with the war on Iran? Get with the program. Everything, man. Every freaking thing. And more. Everything. It's about our food, politics, our sovereignty, everything. It's all about the chewing gum and the donuts and the burgers, the brands, the stock market, the cost of gas, $1.53 today for 1 liter. 3.78 liters to a gallon of gasoline, by the way. So you can just about multiply by 4 and then do the exchange rate. Then you'll find out how much it costs Canadians for gasoline versus the US of A today. Heck of a jump from like $1.13, $1.14, $1.17. Substantial. Especially when you do the conversion. Somebody's making coin, and it ain't us. See, it's got everything to do with everything. It costs money to transport all that sugar, all that saccharin, all that beef. Got to have the fuel. It's all an input. We pay and we profit. How do we profit? Well, everything's connected, man. Oh, you think it's BlackRock, evil BlackRock, Brookfield, evil Carney. No, it's us. Us, me, you, everybody. Everybody with a pension, everybody with an investment of any kind, anybody who works. It's all integrated. See, we own all of the assets that Brookfield and BlackRock manage. Oh, they sit on the top of the pyramid for sure, but it's all for us. It's all ours. You just don't realize it. You don't even know that you have an investment in Pfizer. Well, what does Pfizer own? Freaking almost everything, just like everything else that owns almost everything. It's all connected. Pfizer owns today the company that my dad used to work for. The candy company. And those brands they trade back and forth on the stock market, and this company doesn't want this brand anymore. They sell that off. Chiclets is not owned by the company my dad used to work for. It's been sold off to a smaller candy company. Kind of fell out of favor, not in vogue anymore. It's an old brand. Got to go with something new, something fresh, something shiny. It's got everything to do with the bloody war in Iran. Every freaking thing. Got to keep that stock market up. Dollar's tied to the price of oil. Dollar's up. Price of oil's up. Got to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. Well, Yeah, eventually. Got to pull those levers of the economy. First, keep it rigged. If you know when you're going to do something, when something big's going to happen, you know when to buy, you know when to sell. By the way, did you notice that the court ordered that all that money collected by the tariffs has to be paid back? Oh, didn't even notice, right? Oh, what about those reports about Howard Lutnick's family buying up those options on the payback? Remember that? If you know what's coming, if you write the rules, if you write the language that goes into the tariffs, you might know whether or not the Supreme Court's going to rule for or against. So you could kind of predict the outcome, couldn't you? You could. Did he? Follow the money, baby. I'm going to connect a couple of very big dots for you tonight to show you things are not as they seem. Oh, you think you're just going to pick a side. I'm on the Iranians. I'm on don't attack Iran. I'm on America's side. I'm on Iran's side. I'm on this side. I'm on the left. I'm on the right. Somebody came here today and asked me, like they were here for some other things, unrelated. The fact that we do this program every night came up, and he asked me, well, what's your program about? I said, well, it's politics. He says, well, are you on the left or are you on the right? Are you a conservative or are you a liberal? Pick your team. Pick your label. What are you? Are you a liberal commie bastard or a right-wing fascist scuzzbag? I said, the labels don't apply anymore, man. They don't even make sense because everything has gone crazy. I'm neither anymore. Drink your caffeine. I'm here because of saccharin and aspartame and sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Where does high fructose corn syrup come from? Corn. Where does ethanol come from? Corn. Got to keep those corn farmers happy. They got a big lobby. So does the dairy industry. Trump wants access to Canada's dairy industry, insisting on it. If you ain't going to talk to us about giving us more access to your dairy industry, then we got nothing to talk about. Oh, by the way, that bridge, that new bridge connecting Windsor and Detroit, that's a bad deal. We want a better deal, even though we paid for it all, the whole thing, and gave you half ownership. The American side, state level. That's a bad deal? Apparently. They get everything, we get nothing. If we don't do what they say, they're going to cut off the talks. They're going to cut us off. Is that good faith negotiating? I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like honest dealing to me. Makes me kind of wonder what the hell's been going on in those negotiations that we've been hearing about so much over in Iran. Is that how they've been dealing with the Iranians? How would we know? I just have to take Donald Trump's word for it. And I don't believe a damn thing that comes out of his mouth anymore. How could you? Treats his friends like enemies, tiptoes around our traditional adversaries, treats them with kid gloves, seems to do things that might even benefit them. I've sat here and I've thought, my goodness, if he does this or he does that, that might actually benefit the Chinese. And yet he seems to be so afraid of them and talks so critically of them. Doesn't make sense. He talks about, spheres of dominance and dominating the Western Hemisphere and North America, the Americas. Is the Middle East in North America? I don't know, man. It's we're at war. Is Canada at war? Well, yeah, whether we like it or not. That's the thing, right? And it's like, so yesterday, the Prime Minister of Canada comes out and says, well, we won't, he's not committing to troops, but he has to choose his words very carefully, has to tread very carefully where Donald Trump is concerned. If you were the Prime Minister and you wanted to preserve your nation's sovereignty, would you say anything to piss off Donald Trump or make him wonder about your allegiance, your loyalty? Oh, hell no. Got to be very careful. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you bend the knee even a little bit, then the conservatives jump all over you back home in Canada and call you weak and laugh and mock you and say, "Oh yeah, your elbows up. You're ineffectual. You can't get anything done. You can't. You're big talk and no action." Whatever, man. You see how he's trying to finesse it, right? Scares the heck out of me in a lot of ways. Really does. Meanwhile, tonight, an agreement on a Canada-EU trade cooperation deal has been signed. So you're seeing an expansion of trade that way, but I think Trump might even see that as something of a threat or a slight. And the U.S. House Committee votes to subpoena Attorney General Bondi to answer questions over the Epstein files. What a crap show that was, right? No, not necessarily. I think maybe in a lot of ways, what she did when she was going on and on and on about the Dow. A lot of truth there, man. Do you remember? The Dow. The Dow is up. Mm-hmm. What does that have to do with the Epstein files? Maybe it's the Epstein files that are the distraction before we go to war. Oh, no, we're already at war. Oh, Congress, what are you doing? Oh, well, they're going to look at it after the fact. Little late. Here we go. Locked, loaded, ready to fire. Oh, already done that. Already into day 6 of this conflict. Is it World War III? We'll explore that when we come back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. It custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Is it World War III? Well, Lieutenant General Ben Hodges says it will be remembered this way.
It'll probably be called World War III 10 years from now as historians look back on this. So I think it's accurate to say that this is a global conflict, and we should think strategically about that.
That's him over on the Trump Report, which is part of Times Radio. And you can go watch that whole interview if you want, but that's the point that I'm really trying to make here. And there was this from yesterday, jarring footage of a U.S. service member, veteran, had his arm broken during this exchange. Here. Did you guys see this? Screaming, Palestine will be free.
One wants to fight for Israel. Stand up as a Marine. Stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel.
I'm caught in war.
Why are you here? Why are you
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, Palestine will be free.
We just witnessed a Marine veteran interrupting the hearing, and they broke his arm.
Why did he interfere?
Because there is a war in Iran, and our military brothers and sisters are going to die for Israel, and we are here to say no. We do not support Israel. We do not want to die for Israel. Stop the war in Iran right now.
And what did they do to him?
They pulled him out, got his arm trapped in a door, broke his arm, tackled him to the ground. It was a very, very intense situation.
Please stand up as a Marine. Stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel.
Oh my God. Science, why are you here? Why are you getting...
What's that got to do with anything? I don't know. Everything. October 7th. It didn't matter what I said. People get upset with me because, oh, you're on this side, you're on that. No, I said both sides getting it wrong, man. Falling into the trap. Can't get along. That's a very simplistic thing to say, but it's true. And the money, the power, the oil. But it's about more than the oil, man. It's about everything. It's about the saccharin. It's about the aspartame. It's about corn, food, weapons. Oh, yeah. All connected. In fact, food can be used as a weapon. Oh, yeah. Cut the food supply off, people will rise up. Food sovereignty, food security. People talk about it all the time. Oh, I'm going to have my own garden. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do... Yeah, you know what? Good luck feeding the masses. You need mass food production to sustain today's population. All these predictions over time that you're going to have mass die-offs of humanity because we wouldn't be able to feed people because of overpopulation. But technology, economies of scale, industrialization, that is what has saved humanity, while at the same time killing us. Well, you could argue that. What does that mean? It means that it's a double-edged sword. You can't have mass production without industrialization, and you can't have the industrialization and the mass production and the economies of scale and to produce enough food to feed everybody without chemicals, pesticides to increase yields. But at the same time, now you have these chemicals that may or may not be safe. How much of any toxin is safe? Trust the science. What does that have to do with the Iran war? Every freaking thing. I'm going to show you. It's about our culture. It's about Wuthering Heights. Yes, I mentioned Wuthering Heights the other night. I watched Wuthering Heights, the new movie. It has everything to do with Wuthering Heights. That's the culture war. That's Islam versus Christianity. That's, what do they call the people who are furries? Sexual habits, gender ideology, traditional Christian values, Christitutionalist. It's got everything to do with everything, man. Wuthering Heights. Art, does it influence society or does society influence art? I would say that regardless of what the answer to that is, it's always a reflection of the time. Because it's what's in our minds. It's what's current at the time, whether you're looking at Star Trek in the 60s and you look at the styles of the USS Enterprise and everything, and the social messages, the lessons that they were teaching us, through the scripts of the time, all related to what was going on back in the 1960s, 1970s. You fast forward to Star Trek: The Next Generation. You look at the Enterprise. It's a sleeker, rounder, more aerodynamic look, even though there's no air in outer space. But regardless, the styles from the time reflected what you saw in all of the designs, architecture, styles of furniture, the colors. When I got married, we bought our first house. We put dusty rose carpet in the house. Looked cool. It was in vogue at the time. Culture. Wuthering Heights. We're going to review that movie tomorrow night, and then we're going to run the 1930s classic afterward. But this movie, oh my God, divisive? You betcha. Why? Because it gets into human sexuality, explores sadomasochism. It's about choice, existentialism. It's about why human beings sometimes choose suffering. It forces you to confront and look at your dark side, not the dark side, your dark side, which everyone has. And so many people choose. It's about sexuality, sexual identity, sexual awakening. And that makes a lot of people very uncomfortable, especially these days when you have such a divide between the Christian traditionalists, people who look at the world through a completely, secular lens, people who are Islamists, Muslims, whatever. Oh my God. And people rejecting the movie, criticizing it because they're saying it's this or that. It excuses or abuse. They're missing the point. The script is a masterpiece because it's an exploration of the human condition. On every level, it's to look at our society. And even though it's set back in the 1870s, it looks at all these timeless things, brings it up to date, and forces us to look at ourselves inside deep. Why do we keep choosing the suffering? Why do we keep choosing? It's not a movie about war, but we keep choosing war. We keep choosing to go to war. Oh, sweet suffering. The movie starts with a public hanging. Ironically, I was just thinking about that a week and a half ago. How our society is so dark and how we think we've come so far, and yet it was not so very long ago, and people long for the before times, but it wasn't that long ago when we had public hangings. Is that civilized? The movie, Wuthering Heights, which is not true to the novel. It's a modern adaptation set in the past, begins with the public hanging, a statement on society that rings true today in so many ways as people call for public hangings of politicians and people that they disagree with or ayatollahs. And they cheer when they die. So too does the movie begin that way, with a public hanging, and the person executed, the man, gets an erection that is visibly seen and highlighted in the film, and the crowd cheers. Have times changed all that much? Too many people calling for violence, reveling in it, wanting it. So we go to war again. Those most opposed to it seem to be the ones who have been there before and have seen the horrors of it. But when you're watching it on CNN and ABC and NBC and now on social media, and all you're getting is play-by-play like it's a football game with analysis and sanitized commentary, you're being fed saccharin. We're all being fed saccharin. That's the way it was during the Gulf War. I remember watching it. And as a young journalist at the time, I was learning a lesson. I was buying it too much and not questioning it enough because I trusted the people sitting behind the news desk with the blow-dried hair and the makeup. I'm older now. Young people like to blame guys like me, the boomers, because we have what they want. And the people selling them saccharin are telling them that they can just blame the old people or blame those people over there. Point the finger at that group of people. That's the answer. Just get rid of them. End of your problem. Get rid of all those boomers. Let them die off. Whatever. Get rid of the people that don't look like you over there. They're your problem. Really? I'm not so sure about that. Question everything, man. And the people who tell you we've been lied to, the media is lying to you. I've been lying. Everything you've been told is a lie. What about them? Telling you the truth? Tucker Carlson. You've got Tucker Carlson selling nicotine. You got Alex Jones one day, Alex and the people around him, that whole little group, talking about natural remedies and take your vitamin D. Don't take that jab. That'll kill you. But hey, order your methylene blue now. Do you know what they make that crap from? Last I checked, it was some derivative of coal tar. What's coal tar, Rick? That's the black crap that they put on railroad ties. Roofing compound. It's wood preservative. You ever see them burn railroad ties? I have. My God, the smoke is black. Wicked. Toxic as hell. Now, I can't say if methylene blue is safe or dangerous, but I think anything that literally turns your brain blue, and it does, I think maybe you should be a little bit careful, and maybe you should start questioning the people who are peddling that stuff to you. Same people who are like, don't trust that. That's going to kill you. Mass genocide, this thing, and that government's going to just kill you all. The elites are out there. They got lizard brains, and they're going to suck your skull clean dry out your nose. Buy my saccharin. What is the latest on the Iran war? continues to escalate. Getting into the seventh day, actually, now, right? We're heading into the seventh day, and the United States and Israel intensifying joint military campaign against Iran. Both nations signaling a major new phase of operations. Israeli military leaders say they're moving to the next phase of the war, aimed at further dismantling the Iranian regime infrastructure and remaining missile capabilities. We saw yesterday a torpedo used to take out an Iranian ship. Pete Hegseth misspoke. It wasn't the first time since the Second World War that that's been done. There was a ship taken out by the British Navy at the Falkland Wars. And U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who fancies himself as the Secretary of War, has declared the campaign has only just begun, as we reported last night. Says American firepower over Iran is about to surge dramatically. Heard that last night. So it all began, last Saturday, right? What a way to start the weekend. Over 1,200 people killed inside Iran so far alone. Thousands more wounded. Iranian state media report at least 1,045 dead. 6,000 injured from repeated airstrikes on Tehran missile bases, other military sites, at least a dozen Israelis, more than 70 Lebanese. 6 American service members have also been killed, as we know. Paying the ultimate price for our freedom. Iran has fired back with waves of ballistic missiles, drones targeting Israel and U.S. bases across the Gulf, while being accused of, and it appears like they're attacking all these countries around them, possibly drawing more countries into the conflict. But Iran is denying that. They're saying that the targets are the U.S. bases, not those countries. Two perspectives. Where's the truth? Pick yours. Saccharin or aspartame? Red pill or blue pill? Conflict is now drawn in more than a dozen countries, with Iranian attacks reaching as far as the Indian Ocean. That's where that U.S. sub torpedoed that Iranian frigate. In Washington, the U.S. House of Representatives joined the Senate in rejecting that resolution that could have limited President Trump's authorities, President Trump's authority to continue the campaign. Trump has said that the U.S. must play a direct role in choosing Iran's next leader following the death of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, or Khamenei, pronounce it how you will. So far, Iran seems to be largely isolated. Russia and China condemning the attacks, but they haven't come to their assistance so far. Oil prices spiked. They've spiked to their highest level since 2024. This raising fears of energy shocks across Asia. Hello, Jimmy Carter. Welcome back to the 1970s. I remember the lineups, the gas wars, the shortages. I'm old. $1.53.9 per liter. It would be higher in Northern Ontario and other parts of, the northern areas of Canada for sure. This isn't ending anytime soon, folks, and Trump is saying it could last 4 to 5 weeks. We're already a week in. It's not slowing down. Domination? Maybe, yeah. But just because you're dominating the air and dominating here and dominating there, it doesn't mean that the people give up either. I am worried about what will come now and in the years ahead. Terrorism, pushback, resistance, anger. Is this the strategy? Like, what is the strategy? Where are we going? Nobody seems to know. Regime change? Stopping the nukes? Weapons of mass destruction. Where have we heard that before? Got to get in there and stop this thing before they get these weapons of mass destruction. I see the threat. I see the problems that Iran has, been for the United States, for the Western world. Is it just about Israel? It's about more than that. It's about Israel. It's about everything. It's about big money. It's about the corporations. It's about the stock market. It's about Bitcoin. Bitcoin was crashing. Lost about half its value. It was up to like about $128,000 for a single Bitcoin not so very long ago. It's crashed. It tanked, man. Do you know how much money that wiped out of the U.S. economy? Went down to about 60,000. Since this stuff in Iran has been happening, it's rebounded. It was up to about 70. Well, let's take a quick look here, shall we? Because it's all about that and so much more right here. 70,845.54. That's the current price. Don't forget, a lot of big corporate interests started dumping money into Bitcoin. Trump avoiding regulation, making sure that the industry remains largely deregulated or unregulated. Cryptocurrencies, he's profited too from that himself, to the tune, some believe, of about $1 billion because of his Trump meme coin. There's the price of Bitcoin tonight, 70,845.54. 1 month. Back up to 70,000. It was down as low as 63,000 just back on February 24th. See, it was up to 122, 120, 124,000 back in October, and it crashed. Just was down as low as 63,000, February 24th. But it's recovered since all of this stuff in Iran to now almost 71,000. It was a little higher than that earlier today. Got nothing to do with anything. It's got everything to do with everything. Everything. Of course it does. It's got everything to do with Pam Bondi screaming. The Dow. Have you apologized to President Trump? It's got everything to do with burgers. Why? Well, it's got to do with burgers because burgers have a connection to beef, which has a connection to corn, which has a connection to a recent presidential executive order that I'm going to tell you about. And, you know what I should do? I should show you this whole thing about the burger wars. Yeah. See, well, it's about the culture too, right? We'll start with the culture, then we'll get into the business side of this and connect the dots for you back to the war. This was making big headlines this week. The CEO of Mickey D's, took a little bite of a new burger as part of a promotional thing and got mocked, and now it's turned into the Burger Wars.
There's a new battle brewing in the fast food world, and it all began with the McDonald's CEO.
Yes, he's getting a lot of reaction after he posted a video of himself trying the restaurant's newest burger. Here's ABC's Danny New.
All right, the moment of truth.
One small bite for man.
That's a big bite for a big arch.
One giant controversy for the internet. In the past few weeks, social media has been having a whole Big Mac's worth of fun with this video of McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski as he tries to demonstrate his love of the fast food chain's new Big Arch burger. As you can see, he does not exactly take the biggest bite. One commenter even shared a screen grab from this SpongeBob scene where Squidward cautiously tries a Krabby Patty for the first time. Meanwhile, another commenter wrote, somebody said he was eating that burger like he was a contestant on Fear Factor.
I love this product. It is so good.
Kempczinski also refers to the burger as a quote-unquote product multiple times, which commenters also poked fun at for sounding so businesslike. In fact, McDonald's is now also having fun with this attention, sharing a photo to X and saying, take a bite of our new product. But did we think the other burger companies would really sit this out? On Monday, Burger King CEO Tom Curtis rolled up his sleeves and got in the kitchen, albeit protected by an apron.
I thought I'd come down to our kitchen here at Wendy's.
And then on Wednesday, oh, what do you know? Wendy's U.S. President Pete Serkin suddenly had a hankering for a Baconator.
Absolutely wonderful.
And he took not one, not two, not three, but 4 bites before washing it down with their signature Frosty. One commenter writing, my goodness, move aside cola wars of the 80s and 70s. The burger wars of the 2020s are here. So the Big Arch released this week and features 2 quarter-pound beef patties, 3 slices of melted white cheddar cheese, and a new condiment called Big Arch sauce. But what does it taste like? Too big of a bite. Sorry. In New York for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Come on, Danny.
He bit that like when you go to someone's house and you don't want to try the food, but like you want to be nice. So you're just like, it's good.
Got to feed the masses, even if it's fast food. What about RFK Jr.? Wouldn't he be appalled by this? Huh? Wouldn't he be appalled? How about Patrick Bet-David? He weighs in on this.
A massive story broke, guys. You have to see this. This is massive. This is heartbreaking. Some people are saying this is bigger than the Iran story. It's not getting enough credit, but low-key, a lot of people are paying attention to this, of what the CEO of McDonald's just did, okay? The CEO of McDonald's tried to do a publicity stunt to introduce the new burger that they're launching, which is called what, the Big Arch? Rob, is it already out or not yet?
I'm not sure if it's out. I'll check.
Jake, is it out? Do you know if it's out or no?
I think this is the PR tour was supposed to be part of it. Look it up right now. It came out today.
Beautiful. That's it. Let's cancel the podcast. Let's go, guys. So here's
going for lunch.
Him eating the McDonald's a new Big Arch burger, and then obviously right afterwards, Burger King's like, this is a massive opportunity for us. Rob, maybe don't go from the beginning because people will, it's a cure for insomnia, but if you can play it from, go for it from right there. That's fine.
2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing, I don't even know how to attack it. Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out.
He looks like a vegetarian.
All right, the moment of truth.
Come on, buddy. Take a bite.
That is so good. That's a big bite for a big arch. It's distinctively McDonald's. Only McDonald's could do this type of burger, but it also is unlike anything else on our menu.
Okay.
It's a delicious
Sounds
product.
like a nice guy. Do me a favor. Go to the Burger King CEO and watch what he does here. He doesn't even say anything. He just puts on a kitchen, what do you call a chef's apron, and then takes a bite out of it. And go ahead, Rob. That's a bite.
Not bad, right?
Only one thing missing. A napkin.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you look at this? What do you say? Do you say, Mr. CEO, respectfully, you're not a personality.
Yes. That's somebody in marketing should have said, you're not the guy to be out in front of this. You're kind of robotic. You don't look like a human in some cases.
You look like a vegetarian.
The Burger King guy looked like he should be eating Burger King. McDonald's guy does not look like a McDonald's.
If I put my marketing hat on for a second, it looks like what he was trying to do is show how big it was. And he's like, oh, look at this, 2 patties. And it's like, it's so big. Let's see. And what do you say? Let me see if I can get my mouth
But
around
isn't that
this.
even overthinking it?
It is, and so he's robotic, and they coached him, and so then he's trying to make it look big by taking a small bite. Is probably what they told him. Something. It was a marketing thing. It was bad.
It was horrible. The burger wars have been going on for a while. By the way, we have Valuetainment has a case study that's going to drop this week on the burger wars. Coincidentally enough, we shot it last week, and what's amazing, you think about it, McDonald's. If you took the top 10 burger chains, Pat, what percent of the total revenue of all top 10 combined is McDonald's?
How much? Which one?
55%.
Really?
Of all the top 10. Last year, they were $57 billion. They grew 6% last year when most nobody else grew. And Wendy's has been rumbling, stumbling. Burger King is about to leapfrog in seventh place, $11 billion.
They're going to
so
leapfrog
it's
Wendy's?
$57 billion versus $11 billion. And the boutiques are doing great. In-N-Out's doing great. Whataburger's doing great. Those are the boutiques. But what's really interesting is McDonald's on a roll. Remember what happened. Just a couple years ago, McDonald's was kind of flat with growth, and they had this guy, Steve Easterbrook, was their CEO. Do you remember what happened to him? He was caught dipping the French fry with a member of his staff, and he suddenly resigned, and they had this big settlement. And because he lied to the board sued him, and for one of the first times in U.S. history, a exiting CEO that had this big parachute package had to give the parachute back, $100 million. So now
what's
McDonald's,
parachute, Tom? What do you mean parachute? Like
they gave him a
parachute is
package.
like a couple different meanings.
Well, when he was dismissed, they gave him $100 million to go away as part of his contract.
Yeah.
But then the board realized just how much this Steve Easterbrook guy apparently had deceived the board, and they actually sued to get it back, and that's rare. Usually you have America sitting there slack-jawed saying, so a CEO gets fired and he gets $25 million to retire?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this guy would talk dirty the right way, so they don't have to worry about that. The new CEO,
this guy,
because he's going to say, wow, look
Chris is
how
a good
big
CEO.
this burger is.
That's right. He's
Are
a good
you
CEO,
ready
but he's not a
to
commercial
go
model.
for it? Right now, you're about to get it.
Okay. I'm going somewhere with this. Don't worry. We're going to get there. It's big money, right? Yeah, huge money. It's all about the money. It's about everything. It's about the war. Is this the bigger story? It's the backstory. Is it bigger than the Iran war story? It's the backstory. It's the sidebar story. It maybe is the story. It's maybe the bigger story because it's all about food sovereignty, national sovereignty, whether a country is allowed to be a country, about your health, about RFK Jr. And we're going to connect those dots. It's about a recent presidential executive order that ties everything back in and around. Oh, yeah. Let me get a couple of clips lined up. We'll come back on the other side of this. Don't go away.
Maverick News isn't just a news outlet, it's a community of truth seekers. Your donation at freedomreporters.com fuels our mission to report the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Thank you, Maverick family.
Let's just check in on the live map, if we can. And find out what the latest is over at that war with this war in Iran. So we know tonight, most up-to-date information is the IRGC and the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence announced preemptive joint operations against separatist groups in Iraq who intend to enter from the western borders of the country and carry out terrorist attacks with separatist schools in urban and border areas. That's in Iraq. And let's go over here. Several explosions in western Tehran. Computer's got to catch up. Computer's very sluggish. Get the map up on the screen for you if it cooperates. Doesn't want to bring it up on the screen. Let's try it again. Here we go. Hopefully it holds. And the Kuwaiti Ministry of Defense, Air Defense has intercepted a missile attack that penetrated the country's airspace 2 hours ago. Massive explosions tonight following U.S. and Israeli airstrikes on the Parchin facility in eastern Tehran. Explosions at the Jafar base in Bahrain. Air raid sirens activated in Bahrain 2 hours ago. We'll keep an eye on that. Zelensky saying the U.S. has asked for assistance in taking down Iranian drones and defending European assets. Run the clip. Here he is.
Партнери звертаються до нас, до України, щоб ми допомогли із захистом від шахедів, з експертизою, з реальною роботою. Були запити щодо цього і від американської сторони. Зараз цими днями я говорив з лідерами Еміратів, Катару, Бахрейну, Йорданії, Кувейту. Будуть ще перемовини з іншими регіональними лідерами. Ми координуємося з нашими партнерами в Європі. Звісно, будь-яка наша допомога, тільки за умови, що це не зменшить наш власний захист в Україні. І що це буде інвестицією в наші дипломатичні можливості. Ми допомагаємо захист від війни тим, хто допомагає нам, Україні, наближати достойне завершення війни. Партнери
So again, dots being connected there. Stephen Miller explaining to Fox News that you can feel better about this war because the U.S. military isn't woke anymore. And the reason the U.S. had so much trouble before was because it was just all woke. He says the reason that Americans didn't want to fight in foreign wars before was because the military was woke. But now that it's not woke and it's killing people with precision, Americans are okay with foreign wars, or so he says. This is him on the Sean Hannity program.
One of the reasons I fear, Sean, that some people in this country
Hang on. Bringing you back. Here we go.
that military to defend us is because we had a woke Pentagon, because we had a military. One of the reasons I fear, Sean, that some people in this country lost faith in the military and the capacity to use that military to defend us is because we had a woke Pentagon, because we had a military who at the very highest levels, not the warfighters, was forced to fight a less than full fight. What you're seeing now, Sean, is a military that is unleashed in all of its lethal prowess to go out and seek, destroy, and kill the enemy, which is what militaries are for. One of the reasons
the culture war integrated into the war with Iran. It's about more than that. It's about glyphosate. And it's about lies. RFK Jr. recently on the Joe Rogan program talked about a new executive order just passed days ago, signed by President Trump on the issue of glyphosate. What is glyphosate? That is Roundup. That's weed killer. It is used by big ag, agribusiness. It's all about food production. And RFK Jr. lies his ass off because he spent years, allegedly, fighting against big chemical industries, big chemical corporations like Bayer and Monsanto, because he's been staunchly opposed to glyphosate. Brings back memories for me of things like Agent Orange, DDT, 2,4-D. You know, this whole chemtrail thing, I put it to you that the reason they sell you the chemtrail stories is because the images of Agent Orange from Vietnam, those newsreel clips of the Agent Orange being sprayed, they're embedded in our minds. Toxins, the horror stories, deformities, cancers. It's in our heads, right? And so you show vapor trails, and you can just you're really drilling down into people's subconscious in order to sell them fear. The chemicals are out there. Are they safe or are they not safe? I'm here because of saccharin. Glyphosate is used in mass food production. So on the one hand, it's keeping human beings alive because it increases yields of soybeans, of corn. Corn is used to feed beef. Beef fuels the fast food industry. Corn is used in the production of ethanol, which is blended with gasoline, which helps keep corn producers viable. It boosts the ethanol production, boosts demand for corn. That boosts corn prices. That keeps corn prices high. That helps the stock market. That helps big industry. That helps corporations. That helps you and I. That helps us. How? Because we have pension funds in all of these big corporate entities. We're all invested. It's all about us. It's not just these evil corporations. The corporations are us. We keep choosing to eat at Burger King and McDonald's and Wendy's. It's the system that we're all part of, but it's also something that maybe is killing us. Because the chemicals, while they, like, how safe is glyphosate? It's controversial, right? Because, yeah, it kills all the weeds on genetically modified crops like soybeans. The way it works is they can just spray this stuff on the crops, but the crops are genetically modified so that they're Roundup ready. They don't, the Roundup or the glyphosate chemical doesn't kill the soybeans, but it kills everything else. So it increases efficiency. You can just spray this stuff on the fields. It won't kill the crop, but it kills all the weeds. And because it kills all the weeds, the genetically modified crops grow much bigger, faster. You get more yield out of it because there's nothing there to compete in the field for the nutrients from the soil or strangle any of the crops. Nothing there to compete for the moisture. The soybeans get it all. And you get bigger yields. Then you take those soybeans, you do so many different things with them, right? Because you can make soy burgers. You can mix the soy with the beef. Go to the supermarket, buy yourself a box of prepackaged beef patties. Look at the ingredients. One of the first ingredients isn't beef, it's soy. Are you a soy boy? Did you eat a beef burger? Well, you're probably eating soy. Oh, well, that's an insult, Rick. Why would you? Soy boy, that's woke. That's the culture wars again. Because who wants to eat a veggie burger? If you eat a veggie burger, you're not a real man. We're all eating soy. And we're eating soy that was sprayed with glyphosate. RFK Jr. for years has railed against glyphosate, railed against Roundup because calling it a carcinogen, going to give you cancer. Is that true? It's supposed to be safe in certain quantities. It's supposed to break down in the environment over time. But we're being exposed to it. If you took a glass of glyphosate or Roundup weed killer and just chugged it, you'd freaking die because it's toxic. It's a poison. But if you spray it on your food, there's science behind it. It's supposed to be safe in minute quantities. It's supposed to break down. You're supposed to be okay. Is it true? RFK Jr. for a long time said no. Now he's the head of, he's in charge of America's health. Trump appointed him. Keeping in mind, he wasn't elected. Is the United States really a democracy? Trump selected him, put him into position. He was challenging, as an independent. You know the story. But now he's part of the team. And if you're part of the team, you don't dare criticize the dear leader. Because if you do, you'll end up like Kristi Noem, fired as the head of DHS today, and then shipped off to another job in this new department. What are they calling it? The Shield of the Americas or whatever. So we'll see what that's all about. But he wasn't happy with her performance the other day in front of that Senate hearing where she said that this ad campaign that had been running for DHS was approved by the funding for it came from President Trump. I guess he didn't like her saying that. So out she goes. They bring in this new guy, but everybody sees that you just don't criticize Trump because if you do, you'll get it in the neck. You'll get that hook and yank you off the stage, put somebody else in there from central casting. And RFK Jr. knows this. He's got a sweet deal now, baby. He's got this gig where he can, I don't know, is he making a difference or just collecting a bigger paycheck? Or positioning himself for a future power grab of some kind. Hard to tell. But I'll tell you, he doesn't seem to be. I mean, he's sitting here on the Joe Rogan show saying that he's not happy with this executive order regarding glyphosate that came from the president over the past. It's only been about maybe a week since this thing has been signed, and he explains it here with a giant lie wrapped up in the middle of the truth. And I'll illustrate that for you as this rolls.
EO, which is an executive order. Right. From the president saying that we're going to make the ingredients for glyphosate in this country and for elemental phosphorus. And, you know, I've spent 40 years fighting pesticides. I was part of the trial team on the Monsanto case, which was the team that, you know, we won 3 cases in a row and then got an $11 billion settlement with Monsanto, which is now Bayer. By the end of our trial, Bayer owned Monsanto. But, you know, pesticides are poison. They're designed to kill all life. It's not a good thing to have in your food. So it's not something that I was particularly happy with. Let me put it that way mildly. But I also understand the president's point of view. The president didn't create the system. He's dealing with a problem that was created long before, over the past 60 years, when, you know, through federal policies and subsidies and the management of farming in this country, the agricultural management, we have addicted our farmers to these pesticides, and particularly glyphosate. Glyphosate is the foundational pesticide of our food production system. So 97% of corn in this country is produced with glyphosate and can't be produced without it. 98%, you know, you could do it, you could change it. There's organic corn producers in this country. It's like 3%. 98% of soy is produced with glyphosate. If you ban glyphosate overnight, or if you got rid of it, or if somebody else cut off our supply, it would destroy the American food system. And
how crazy is that statement? The American foods, the entire system is based on using the poison.
Right. The farmers don't like it. You know, let me just explain what the EO did. Right now, according to the industry reports, 99% of our glyphosate comes from China. So the Pentagon and others said this is an extreme national security vulnerability, that China controls the U.S. food system. And we can't afford to let that happen. If we got in some kind of tangle with them, they could literally cut off our food supply overnight. And
lie. It's a lie. He's lying. He said 99% of the glyphosate used in the United States comes from China. It's a lie. There's a kernel of truth that's been twisted there. He's scaring the crap out of you in order to let himself off the hook for not standing up to President Trump and saying, no, Mr. President, I am not in favor of this. And you put me in charge of the health of Americans, and I'm standing up against this. I've for years been fighting against this because glyphosate causes cancer, and I won't have it. If you don't do something about this, if you sign that executive order, I will resign. But did he do that? No. See, because the thing is, that's not true. 99% of the glyphosate used in America does not come from China, but hey, blame it on the Chinese. The truth of the matter is the majority of imported generic brand glyphosate, not Roundup brand, comes from China. The majority of it, probably about, depends on the study, but somewhere between 40 and 70%, depending on the year. Imported. The imported portion only. The rest of it comes from other countries, the rest of the imported glyphosate. But the United States produces a lot of glyphosate itself, but only one company does it. Monsanto, which is now owned by Bayer. One big corporation. They have basically a domestic monopoly, but they have a lot of competition from China. Why? Because China has 70% of the world market tied up in glyphosate. They produce 70% of the entire world supply for countries all around the world. Why? Because they've ramped up their production since 2000, I believe, is when the patent on glyphosate lapsed on Roundup. And that paved the way, opened the markets for other countries, other producers to enter the market. And China did in a big way, because they go big or they just go home, and they don't usually go home. Not these days. No, they're out to compete on the world market. I've been saying for a long time, they're more capitalistic, free market than the United States is. The US of A under Donald Trump has become very protectionist. So much so that sometimes they just lie their asses off. That's what RFK just did, to let himself off the hook, make an excuse for Donald Trump, save his job, save his butt. I'm telling you that 99% of all the glyphosate used in the United States comes from China. Oh, that's a national security risk. That's why the president signed his EO. You want to take a look? I'll share it with you. What's this got to do with the war in Iran? Every freaking thing. Everything. Every damn thing. Let me show you. Promoting the national defense by ensuring an adequate supply of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides. That's the EO. Signed February 18th. By authority vested in me as president of by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the Defense Production Act of 1950, as amended. And Section 301 of Title III United States Code, it is hereby ordered by the El Presidente himself. Section 1, Policy and Findings. Elemental phosphorus is pervasive in defense supply chains, and therefore crucial to military readiness and national defense. It is a key input in smoke illumination and incendiary devices, and is a critical component for manufacturing the semiconductors that are central to numerous defense technologies, such as radar, solar cells, sensors, and optoelectronics. It is also increasingly important in modern lithium-ion battery chemistries used in a multitude of weapon system supply chains. For these and other reasons, on November 7th, 2025, the Department of the Interior, acting pursuant to the Energy Act of 2020, designated phosphate as a critical mineral. What have we been talking about in a lot of these countries? Not just about oil, right? Trump wants to secure the critical minerals. He goes on in this EO and says, elemental phosphorus is also a critical precursor element for the production of glyphosate-based herbicides, which play a critical role in maintaining America's agricultural advantage by enabling farmers to efficiently and cost-effectively produce food and livestock feed. Haha, yeah, soy, corn. Corn feeds everything from ducks and ostriches to cattle. So you can go to Burger Clone and chow down on the big arch as the most widely used crop protection tools in the United States agriculture. Glyphosate-based herbicides are a cornerstone of this nation's agricultural productivity and rural economy, allowing United States farmers and ranchers to maintain high yields and low production costs, while ensuring that healthy, affordable food options remain within reach for all American families. There is no direct one-for-one chemical alternative to glyphosate-based herbicides. Lack of access to glyphosate-based herbicides would critically jeopardize agricultural productivity adding pressure to the domestic food system and may result in a transition of cropland to other uses due to low productivity. Given the profit margins growers currently face, any major restrictions in access to glyphosate-based herbicides would result in economic losses for growers and make it untenable for them to meet growing food and feed demands. Ensuring an adequate supply of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides is thus crucial to the national security and defense, including food supply security, which is essential to protecting the health and safety of Americans. Nonetheless, the United States' ability to domestically produce those critical inputs is extremely limited. It is. Indeed, there is only a single domestic producer of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides, and this producer does not meet our annual needs for those inputs. For that reason, more than 6 million kilograms of elemental phosphorus are imported from other countries annually. Future reduction or the cessation of domestic production of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides would gravely threaten American national security by disrupting and requiring the further offshoring of this nation's defense supply chain, including by having a debilitating impact on domestic agricultural capabilities. Oh my God! It could be catastrophic. Truth is, there are alternatives. There are other chemicals they could use. Studies have shown that if they used alternatives like 2,4-D or other herbicides to kill those weeds, could cut profits by as much as 2 to 3%. And I'm not saying it's better to use those other chemicals. Some of them are more toxic than the glyphosate / Roundup brand name, Monsanto. Is it different than the generic stuff? No. Same stuff. Why is China so competitive? Because they have something in economics called comparative advantage. They have a lot of phosphorus available for mining in China. They have a domestic supply right there. And then they ramped up production. They have huge economies of scale. They've invested in it in order to provide the world with glyphosate and phosphorus products, including white phosphorus. What does that have to do with the war in Iran, Rick? Every freaking thing. He's spelling it out for you right there in that executive order. You can go and read the whole damn thing if you want, but I've already read you the important parts. The Defense Production Act, national security, talking about food sovereignty. Kind of rich when you think about it. Rich, not just in the sense that a lot of people getting real rich tonight because the price of gas is gone through the roof again. $1.53.9, gonna climb higher, I expect. Somebody's making bank. You know, Iran only supplies about 3% of the world market with oil, but it's that Strait of Hormuz, right? And the tankers aren't flowing through there. Who caused all that disruption? Kind of a bunch of people I think we could blame for that, including the President of the United States and Iran. And maybe Israel too. Yeah. Lots of blame to go around. Price of gas going up. But I'll tell you this, somebody's getting rich, because I don't think that we've had enough time at this point for the supply to really be disrupted that much here, especially when you consider that so much of our oil supply can be and is supplied domestically. But it's all based on the war price. Speculation, yeah, you do get price spikes. So it's already reflecting at the pump, but I guarantee you they're cashing in the first days of this before the actual supply disruptions filter down through the supply chain. That's the way it works, baby. Extra profits up front. If you know anything about retail, supply, defense, national security. So what President Trump has done with that executive order is he has provided protection for Bayer, the big corporation, like huge. It's huge. There's a word that President Trump has brought forward for us. Huge. It's hugely. Huge protection for Bayer Monsanto. Ironically, just 2 weeks ago, there was this. Bayer proposes a $7.2 billion settlement to resolve Roundup weed killer cases. Yeah, a lot of litigation going on out there because of concerns about cancer, illness, maybe related to Roundup. RFK Jr. would know a whole lot about this.
$7.2 billion. That is how much money Bayer is proposing to settle some lawsuits alleging that Roundup weed killer causes cancer. That agreement does not include any admission of guilt or wrongdoing, and cancer patients exposed to Roundup before this proposed settlement can still file claims for payments. That's according to Reuters. The company says it also has agreed to settle some other Roundup-related cases. That product is still available for sale. Bayer says Roundup products are safe and that their ingredients have been thoroughly tested.
Trump says it's about food sovereignty. It's about security for Americans. If you don't have glyphosate, people could starve to death. That would be a national security issue. Of course, they could use other things. If you just got rid of herbicides altogether, it would probably cut your yields by about 50%. That could be a big issue, but you could use alternatives. Just cost a little bit more. So maybe the issue isn't so much food sovereignty and it's more about profit. Interestingly, the EO shields Bayer, Monsanto, from liabilities, legal liabilities, through the distribution and use of glyphosate, Roundup, in the future, as it relates specifically to the EO. It's not blanket coverage against lawsuits like that, but those lawsuits and that proposed $7.2 billion settlement with no admission of guilt of any kind, by the way, which I think was mentioned in that report, did affect stock prices. That affected the company. But the EO, the executive order from President Trump, provides new support, new protections for Bayer. That kind of helped stabilize things on the stock market just a bit for that big, giant corporation. You know what else it does? It ensures that anything the government does won't jeopardize the viability of that company. It pretty much guarantees that Bayer Monsanto, as long as that executive order remains in effect, will survive as a company. There's probably nothing you could do now to cause that company to go bankrupt, go out of business for pretty much any reason, because the president has declared it to be basically an essential corporation. Remember, back during the pandemic, only essential workers go to work. That word just popped up, and I just thought, well, there's a little dot, but I don't know how significant it is, other than to say this pretty much guarantees that anybody who invests in that company, you've got a pretty good investment on your hands as long as the United States government remains viable, because they're going to prop that company up. And if the president gets his wishes, you're going to see more production of glyphosate, Roundup, and phosphorus-related products within the United States, because they're going to dump money into this thing. They're going to direct billions probably of dollars through government contracts into the production of these products. That's going to boost Bayer. That's going to boost Monsanto. And they're the only company doing this stuff in the United States. Yeah, Trump's just killing the competition for Bayer. He's saying no more from China. Right now they're importing not just the glyphosate, but also a lot of the raw products. That's a lot of it comes from China because they have the phosphorus in China. You have some in the United States too, but it's not currently mined. It's not efficient to mine it, not nearly as efficient as it is in China. That's where they have a comparative advantage. It's a lot cheaper. They have a cost advantage, production cost advantage. Bayer can't compete. So kill the competition with a non-tariff barrier. Non-tariff barrier. Still, the effect is similar. And it has been woven into the tapestry of national security. What's it got to do with the war? Every damn thing. Prop up that company. And then have RFK Jr. go on to the Joe Rogan show and sell us saccharin. Make an excuse. Have Joe Rogan, who endorsed Trump, by the way, run defense in the PR information war for the public. Oh, my goodness, isn't that crazy? Oh, get me the smelling salts. But RFK Jr. is, well, what are you going to do? What you gonna do? This has been like this for 60 years. What do you expect me to do? I don't know what to do. Well, how about we go to war with Dunkin' Donuts then? So that's what he's done. He's given up on glyphosate, which is sprayed on virtually everything you eat, including the grains that go into the production of donuts. But he's putting Dunkin' Donuts on notice. He's going to go to war with Dunkin' Donuts. Because they put too much sugar in their coffee, apparently. That's not sitting well with Massachusetts governor, because I think that's where the head office for Dunkin' Donuts is. So now there's the come and take it campaign from the governor of Massachusetts. Yeah. He says, come and take it. That's her reply.
Today we mark an historic announcement delivering the solution to a problem the American Medical Association first identified 60 years ago when my uncle was president. Together with the Department of Education Secretary Linda McMahon, I'm pleased to announce a transformative breakthrough in medical education that will reshape as the way that we train doctors in our country and deliver on President Trump's promise to end the chronic disease epidemic in America. 53 medical schools across 31 states are driving the national movement to champion nutrition education and reshape the future of medical training. Beginning this fall, these schools will require every medical student to complete 40 hours of comprehensive nutrition education or competency equivalent before graduating. More than 30,000 physicians each year will now graduate equipped with nutrition education to help prevent, treat, and reverse chronic disease. This is how we implement the MAHA agenda. This is how we make America healthy again.
Okay. But give up on the glyphosate and go out. And so now you're going to, okay, so they've got this new education program for doctors. So, you know, in the schools, I guess they're going to teach kids how to eat healthy. You know, eat your veggies. Don't forget to eat your veggies. That's the MAHA agenda. But, you know, there's more to it even than this. Because did you notice that the phosphorus, which is now a critical mineral, so designated since last year, it's used for more than just glyphosate. You know what else it's used for? What did he tell you? Semiconductors, solar panels, lithium batteries. Wasn't he against electric cars? Well, sort of, not really. Lithium batteries. Elon Musk is going to need some of that stuff, right? You've got munitions, bombs. Yeah. Bombs, baby. They need it for the military industrial complex. It's true. And he specifically mentions in that executive order, go back up. What's he talking about here? He is talking about, let me just show you on the screen again. Phosphorus, phosphorus. What do we know about phosphorus? Put it back on the screen. It is a key input in smoke, illumination, and incendiary devices. What does that mean? Phosphorus bombs. Phosphorus munitions. They drop these things in war zones, and it creates smoke cover. Yeah. It's not just about glyphosate. It's also about munitions, arms. So just connecting the dots. Is it a valid point? Maybe. But, you know, at the same time, while he's sitting there talking about food sovereignty, claiming it's about keeping people alive because you got to feed the masses, because you got to spray it with the chemical. There are alternatives. It's really about profits. He just doesn't want to look at alternatives. It's just easier. Plus, you get the added economies of scale from an economics point of view of buying more, producing more, mining more phosphorus to get better pricing, make it more cost effective to produce everything from lithium ion batteries, semiconductors, solar panels, electronics components, glyphosate, herbicides, pesticides, and bombs. Glyphosate, huge business, worth billions. One company. And they just made out like a bandit, didn't they? They donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration. First time they ever did that. There. It's payback time, baby. That investment paid off very, very well, I would say. But Trump, he always wants more. If it isn't the Gordie Howe Bridge one day, it's the dairy industry the next, which is something he's wanted for a long time in Canada. See, Canada has supply management systems in place for some parts of its agricultural industries. Poultry, birds, dairy. Why? Because supply management provides stable pricing and keeps small family and even small corporate farm operations in Canada viable. And it ensures that we have a stable, ongoing supply of food. We have our own food supply, that we don't become reliant on any other country like the United States or China or anybody else. But Trump is saying, if you don't open your market more and give us access to your dairy industry, then we don't have anything to talk about. Nothing. When it comes to CUSMA, Canada, US, Mexico trade deal. That's what we're getting from them. So on the one hand, he's signing an executive order to ensure that the United States food sovereignty, profitability for the big ag business, for the big corporation, that all remains in place. Food sovereignty for the United States, food security for the United States. Not for Canada, though. Just listen to his trade representative on this file. Mr. Greer, can we hear from you? Here we go. You may remember this.
Does the president feel constrained by USMCA?
So I wouldn't say feel constrained. We're in the middle of a review that we have to conduct in the United States. I'm in contact with my counterparts from both Mexico and Canada. There are things in USMCA that make sense that don't get a lot of news because they function fine. But there are a lot of things where we don't have the type of market access we want, whether it's in goods or services. We have Mexico that historically, over the past few years, has been discriminating against U.S. energy producers and service providers. We have Canada that limits our access for dairy, has taken American wine and spirits off its shelves. So we have a lot of issues like that. We also have concerns about transshipment through Canada and Mexico of goods from third countries coming through and benefiting from duty-free treatment from USMCA. And so we want to make sure that if there's an agreement with either of these countries, that it really benefits these countries and not third countries that might use Canada or Mexico as an export hub into the United States.
But Canada already does actually allow, I think it's close to $1 billion worth of dairy products into Canada, and we do not export very much, if any, very little, to the United States. So it's not like we're producing dairy here and then dumping it into the U.S. In fact, we dump the dairy down the drain that we produce that can't be sold on the market at the prevailing price in order to keep the prices high enough to make sure that the farmers make enough to survive and prosper. And we can have the debate about whether the pricing structure is fair or whether it benefits consumers or not. Depends on the province you're in. There are multi-layers to it. But the point of the matter is Canada does this for food sovereignty, food security, so that we have our own food supply and we don't become dependent on other countries that might use it as a tool, as leverage to, I don't know, just like cut us off. Like, thank God they can't like put a blockade up and cut off the supply of like oil to Canada or something, right? Next thing you know, we might have rolling blackouts and garbage in the streets, and maybe somebody even suggesting a change in leadership. Just saying. See, the thing is, none of this has to happen because we're already friends. We're already paying for the bridge, giving half of it to Michigan. I don't know. It's very, very disingenuous. So fake. And it's not just about the glyphosate, it's about the munitions. What kind of munitions are we talking about? Illumination, smoke screens, phosphorus bombs. We've seen these things used in Ukraine and Gaza, I think to some degree in Gaza. And depending on how they're used, some say they could be used illegally as a war crime. Do I have the footage here? Let me take a break. We're going to come back. I'm going to show you on the other side of this. Stay with me.
Maverick News isn't just a news outlet, it's a community of truth seekers. Your donation at freedomreporters.com fuels our mission to report the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Thank you, Maverick family.
Yeah. Now, this isn't like phosphorus isn't used just for this, but this is the worst of the worst, I think. This is white phosphorus, burns at like incredibly high temperatures, burns through everything. And the smoke that is used for these smoke screens, it can burn your lungs. Let me show you.
This is what a white phosphorus bomb explosion looks like. The plumes of smoke, when inhaled, cause sudden scarring of lungs, suffocate people to death, and melt flesh just like the napalm bomb. White phosphorus is a colorless or yellowish translucent wax-like substance that smells a bit like garlic and ignites on contact with oxygen. When used, it's characterized by a loud bang and a plume of bright white smoke. It can stay dormant in the ground, but exposure to air causes it to ignite immediately. Under the Chemical Weapons Convention, white phosphorus is not considered a chemical weapon, and is thus used on battlefields to make smoke screens, generate illumination, mark targets, or burn bunkers and buildings. But it is illegal to use it as an incendiary weapon in war zones and in heavily populated civilian areas. It burns fiercely and can inflict horrific injuries, kill and burn to the bone, and its usage constitutes a war crime. White phosphorus bombs were called Willie Pete and were used during World War I and World War II. The Pentagon acknowledged the use of white phosphorus munitions in the Iraqi city of Fallujah in 2004. In 2008-2009, it was used by Israel on civilian areas during its recurring military campaigns in Gaza. Israel has been using artillery-fired white phosphorus in southern Lebanon and Gaza since October 2023, according to Human Rights Watch. At least 173 people have been reportedly injured by exposure to white phosphorus in Lebanon between October and late May. In recent days, Lebanese media accused Israel of dropping phosphorus bombs in the country's capital, Beirut. HRW says Israel's use of airburst white phosphorus munitions in populated areas indiscriminately harms civilians and has led many to leave their homes.
What's it got to do with the war in Iran? Every freaking thing. Russia has been using phosphorus bombs in Ukraine. No wonder it's a national security issue. But leave it to Trump to find the profit. We're addicted. Addicted to the chemicals. Addicted to the war. Because we're addicted to the profits. We're addicted to the pension funds. It's not BlackRock. It's not Brookfield. It's not just Mark Carney. It's all of us. It's in the choices we make every day when we go to Burger King, when we go to McDonald's, and we buy into the brands, and we live our existence and get more concerned about the burger wars than the war in Iran. And it's a great place to live because we're so removed from the reality, from the horrors of the war that is being fought, the wars that are being fought right now for our freedom. Freedom. What freedom? Good question. Because Mark Carney asked if Canada will participate in the Iran war alongside the United States. What was his response? We will support our allies when it makes sense. The trap is for Iran to do what it has done, which is to attack other countries. By attacking other countries, even though they say they're attacking the U.S. bases there, it gives legal justification then for these other countries if they attack a British base in that country. Gives them, Britain, now justification to join the conflict, just as it would Canada. They're just looking for an excuse or a reason or justification to give President Trump what he wants, because it's all about a game. It's a game. If you come out too soon and you say that, yes, we're with the United States and if you put your troops in too soon, then you could be guilty of the war crime. And if you're not a superpower like the United States, you could be held accountable for war crimes with the ICC for things that are done. But nobody's going to hold Godzilla accountable because they're a superpower. So the ICC, the International Criminal Court, the ICJ, the United Nations, nobody can touch them. That's the raw truth of it all. But Trump is looking for loyalty. And if you want to keep your country, if you want to keep that facade of freedom and sovereignty, you must do what I say. And you will live behind this shield of the Americas, now going to be run by Christino. And if you don't support the United States, there will be a price to pay. Mark Carney, you're so ungrateful. You weren't sounding very grateful, Mark. Remember how Trump responded to Carney's speech at Davos? You don't sound very grateful, Mark. You should be more grateful, Mark. Thank you, Emperor Palpatine, Sith Lord. Ominous, scary, direct, raw truth. Can you handle it? But we resist to some degree, right? Not because, we won't stand with the United States, because there's good and there's bad, and none of this is black and white. Don't get me wrong. I see the problems with Iran. I also see the problems with Israel. I see the challenges that medium powers and smaller countries like Canada and Cuba and Venezuela and the United Kingdom, even, although they got nukes. And France has nukes. Going to be spreading those things around a bit, I guess. That's the reality of politics. That's real politics. And that's just pulling away the facade, getting rid of that partial lie that Mark Carney highlighted in his speech at Davos, which was a landmark speech for sure. Because it really did just peel back the layer and just expose it all, didn't it? Expose what Trump has been showing us anyway, that the United States is just going to do whatever the hell it wants to do as long as he's president. International rules be damned. He doesn't care. And he doesn't care about the rules when it comes to business either. He's sure as hell not a free market guy. It's all about controlling the economy. And that's why it all has everything to do with everything else. It has, this war in Iran is about everything from soup to nuts, quite literally. It's about donuts and burgers and phosphorus bombs. It's about the bucks. It's about selling us saccharin, keeping us distracted in the matrix, talking about Epstein when nobody or very few people are held accountable except for some of the people that they've just thrown to the wolves in order to keep that crowd watching the public hanging happy, captivated, before they go back to smoking their joints, drinking their Bud Light and their Diet Coke, munching on their Dunkin' Donut and their Glyphosate burger. God bless America and Canada and Britain and all of Western society. See you back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Oh, yeah, there's more. Don't go away. It's coming. One more time. Maverick and the News Brothers. Our chemical addiction. How's the dopamine level while you're watching that news coverage? Play-by-play action.
Fluorescent dawn, a dead-eyed stare, tasty prophets, poison in the air, miracle cures, a crystal vial. They sell your fear and call it style. Blue pill, red pill, choose your cage. Pre-packaged, weaponized rage. Swallow the lie, swallow quick every face. Addicted every mind. Sick.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.